Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm just playing this video on loop real quick while I finish getting set up and while people join. Oop, I'm echoing now. Here we go. All right. Fortunately, the chat doesn't seem to be loading. Here we go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Caesar, this is the one that came from RetroTech, so whatever I sell it for, Steve's getting the money. The only thing I would keep is if you wanted me to meet you somewhere, just throw me a couple bucks in gas. But ooh, look at that crotch shot, nice. But yeah, so I'll walk through all of this. This is a pre-recorded video I took before. Look at those awesome scan lines. Actually, I realize I'm talking around the wrong thing. Let me look over at my OBS window here. So this is the 36-inch JVC D-Series tube TV. It is in working condition, pretty darn flawless. Physical condition, you can see it's missing the front door and it's got the plastic cracked, which doesn't really affect stability, but it also has scratches all over the screen. And it kind of came like that. It got to Steve like that and everything. And I never notice when it's powered on, but it's very noticeable when it's powered off. So even with an all black screen, other than just the Metroid logo, you can't really see it. Look at that though. That's perfect. That looks awesome. So it is a very, very high TVL monitor, and I just wanted to kind of play it one last time and see if anybody wanted to buy it. Any reasonable offers would be considered. All cash goes to Steve because this is his TV. And I absolutely love it. I just need a lot more room in here. While this family room slash office slash guest room, whatever you want to call it, is bigger than my first New York City apartment, it still doesn't have enough space for everything I need. So got to get rid of it. Analog 1975, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This stream is going to be very, very laid back. Not at all like the usual tech streams. I got a lot of those coming. I'm going to be doing some at night, a couple more during the day, but this one's just a fun one. Slash, what's up, man? All right. So let me just move this over here. So I'm going to pause the video. And how does this look as far as view goes? I think this should be good enough. There's nothing I could do about the glare behind me here. You can see me waving in it. I could turn off the lights to reduce that glare, but that might increase the glare of other things. So let's see how that looks. Should I start the stream like this and kind of go from there? And the moire pattern, there's nothing I could do about it. I held off on my entire getting started series of videos just because I don't want to get rid of that. Alucard, I've had some serious offers on that 32-inch D-Series BVM, and somebody came right out and offered top dollar for it, exactly the same price that it was sold for last time, but they actually don't live in the US, and the country they live in, there was some serious fear of this thing making it to port and then just being called e-waste and thrown out. So I would definitely consider selling it. I might have to, but I don't need to sell it yet. So I would ask for what it's been going for, which is an insane amount of money. However, at some point, who knows? Maybe I'll need to sell it. Omar, we could, yeah, if you have the ability to DM me anywhere, we could talk about it. If you have any questions, I could just answer right now. What's up, Belmont? Yeah, so Christopher Jackson makes a really good point. It's huge and it's heavy and it's awkwardly balanced. So unless you're in, the New York City-ish area, then basically unless you're in driving distance of that, it would be rough. You could hire U-Ship, but this monitor, because of the crack and while I'm still talking, let me just put this thing back here. Because of the crack in front and because of the scratches in the glass, even though I really don't think they impact performance, this isn't a top dollar monitor. However, the capacitors have been replaced. It's been calibrated to as best as a 36-inch consumer TV can, which is, it's still good, but it's not going to be perfect. Don't expect OLED quality. So this thing isn't a $1,000 monitor. You're probably going to spend the same in shipping as you would on the monitor itself. So Lionheart in this condition seriously would be 400 bucks, 300 bucks. Definitely not lower than 3, unless it was something like, I'll drive to your house right now with cash, and even then it wouldn't be much less than that. But I mean, I know a lot of people who actually just met up with my friend Cam, who very often spends more money on shipping than he does on monitors, and that's fine because he knows that's what he wants, and he also has the ability to fix them if they get damaged in shipping beyond, destroying the monitor. So I'm going to play Metroid, the same one I played last time, except I've been talking to cubear quite a bit, who made me like a amalgamation of patches, so it might actually be a little more fun. The only problem is I was trying to figure out a way to demo this monitor and also route audio through, and there was no good way to do it, and the one way I found had a hum, so I just figured, let's go super ghetto, and I'm going to play audio through my speakers here, and just let it go through my mic. Which is terrible. I know it's terrible. You all could feel free to make fun of me for it. So I will be checking the chat. Um, so let me know if audio could be louder, or it's not going to be clear, but better, worse, whatever. Yeah, not Shane. I agree. I am absolutely in love with curved TVs. And while I love a lot of the flat CRTs that are out there, excuse me, if I had a choice, I'm always going to pick a curved. Which console had a better composite image, the SNES, Genesis, or PC Engine? I think the PC Engine, and I think the SNES is probably number one. And then, well, but there was that blurry 2 chip, so I don't know. Probably PC Engine, SNES, and Genesis. And Genesis kind of had notoriously noisy composite video. Um, I think the stream's coming out okay, but if the image is a little bright, I could try turning down the ISO a little bit. You all just let me know however you feel about it. Remember, this is about the, oh yeah, and this one has the map. Isn't that cool? Are there any SNES hackers that happen to be here? I keep meaning to message Khan and just annoy him to death with a bunch of questions. Uh, but if anybody's in the chat, I could just bother you instead. I'm really excited about this hack, and I would love to answer any questions about it. And I'll, this stream was about the TV, which is why you don't have really good audio pumped through, which is why there's another HDMI coming out of the Mister. But oh, and as usual, it's me. I can't just play a game. I can't just have a stream about a CRT. I'm also testing linking 3 switches together to see if any interference is caused over long periods of time. So if the sync starts to go nuts, or if a color drops out, it's cabling, and it's my little experiment here. I'm only selling it. Well, there's 2 reasons. The main reason is I just don't have enough space here. I bought the biggest house I could afford, which compared to New York City apartments, it's huge, but compared to most other people's houses, it is not very big at all. So I don't have any room for it. I need to be able to do some more experiments, and it was always in the way. But the other reason is Jose and I rebuilt a 32-inch version of this TV a couple years ago, and it was the first consumer TV I ever rebuilt. And when I say me, it was, I'm going to call it 70-30 Jose, because he also saved my butt when I broke a trace. But it's like it had some sentimental value, and I don't feel like I'm going to piss blood every time I lift it. I've lifted this one plenty of times by myself, and it's not fun. Whereas the 32-inch I could totally lift by myself, no problem. Yeah, not Shane. That's the moire pattern. It's it's kind of annoying to me when I shoot video on this thing, because one of the things that I'm always trying to do is find better ways to explain to people why CRTs are so much better for classic games. And I'm always trying to show close-ups of the tube to show you how the mask cuts through the graphics. Because this does not look like a 256 graphic game right now. This looks amazing. And it's because the scan lines cut through it. But with that moire pattern, it looks like scan lines that are completely uneven with terrible geometry. How do 55 hertz IRM games look on it? I don't know, but Mortal Kombat worked on it. Like original MK and MK3 arcade. But if I get bored of Metroid, I could try the IRM. Or if you're still on the stream later on, please let me know, and I will switch over. And if it's on the Mister, I have it here. Yeah, Belmont, it does feel good when you reorganize and make space for more projects and stuff. I have so many backlogged projects and things that I can't wait to finish and then get rid of. Like, I have a TRS-80 color computer too that I was going to just do a recap on and S-video mod it. Just as a fun bit of nostalgia, because that was my first computer. And then I was going to give it to a friend of mine, but I just haven't had any time whatsoever. There's an Intellivision, there's a bunch of stuff like that I want to enjoy messing with it, and then I want to get the heck rid of it so I actually have room to stack stuff. Hey EW, no, it's not an auction because it's really hard to sell bigger tubes because you can't ship them. Or if you do ship them, you have to pay for something like U-Ship, which costs as much as the monitor, if not more. So I just imagine somebody somewhat local is going to jump on the stream or see it tomorrow or something and just say, hey, you know, here's what I offer for it. This really is, like, if you were looking for a big CRT, this thing is pretty amazing. Alright, so I couldn't go any farther here. I love that there's a map, but I kind of wish it was bigger, and I also wish it showed you where you went. Which is, how much of a spoiled brat am I, right? I have an MSU1 audio hack. I'm playing Metroid on the SNES with less slowdown, and yet I'm still complaining. Dan, this is a consumer grade TV that has a high enough TV line count that it matches or exceeds some professional monitors of its size. There's plenty of like boardroom monitors that were thousands of dollars when they were new that don't have as much sharpness as this does. Graphics gear. Sorry, I just gotta pause. Cheers. First beer of the weekend for me. You ship from New York to Cali is like 300. Okay, well that's actually not bad. Yeah. Retro junkie. Would I take a trade? It really depends because I need to start getting rid of stuff, not taking stuff in. But I mean, if you have something interested, yeah. Dan has a PVM 3230 and XM29. You have both of those things? Both? That's awesome. That is really awesome. Real Phoenix, good to see you. I was over at Buddy's house the other day, and he also used to live in New York City, and now he moved to the burbs. He has like a real adult size house, though. And I never knew how many monitors he had. I knew he had a storage area, and I knew he fit a lot in his New York City apartment, but I think he's got like 60 or 70 or something. And more than half work. The other half need to be rebuilt. Alex Blackjam, RetroRGB.link/cheap DAC. HDMI to YPP, component video. It's my third sip of my first beer, and I can't say YPVPR. Planning to use a Linux laptop to scale the signal to 480i. Yeah, that's exactly what you would need. Because it's just a DAC, a digital to analog converter. So there's no buffer, there's no processing of the signal. All you're doing is just changing it from digital to analog, so it'll be true lagless. if I remember correctly, this is a dead end, but you were supposed to get the energy tank and backtrack. So this game was not converted by the developer called Infidelity. This game was converted using Project Nested. So there's so many good things about it, but it's also a little choppy in the scrolling. I would love to see. I know Infidelity's working on Zelda now, which is incredible. So I hope he sticks with it. But it would be kind of neat to see him work on this next, but also work with the ROM hackers that have been kind of doing stuff like this. So it kind of comes out already converted with a map and all that stuff. And Infidelity has a Patreon as well, so I do not feel bad making suggestions, because I hope that we all make suggestions, contribute to the Patreon, and get him paid for his very hard work. I will definitely be doing the Zelda stream when he comes out with that, though. I guess I was wrong about backtracking. Wonderfish. I don't remember Wonderfish. Is there? Did you have another screen name? And by the way, I will be at Retro World Expo, and if you come to say hi, please tell me the name that you use wherever we correspond. It's always awesome meeting people, but I can't tell you how many times I'll have like a 5-minute conversation with somebody. Be like, wow, they're really cool. I like that person a lot. And then at the end of the conversation, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm Super Dave from the forums. And it's like, oh shit, I've known you for 10 years. No wonder we're getting along. So yeah, always remind me who you are, please, because very often most people have multiple names they go by depending where they're logged into. Alright, so that's where I came from. Those are the 2 spots. I can't get up that way yet because I don't have enough. So I have to backtrack. Okay, alright. Yeah, Belmont. The only convention this year I'll be at is Retro World. I got a little bummed about a bunch of stuff that happened, and then right after I put that thing up on the Q&As about like the truth about going to these expos, one of the ones that I've been working with burned me for $320, and then just ghosted me. They just put me on mute, and they refused to answer any of my emails or DMs or anything. So yeah, it's very frustrating, and the crew that runs Retro World is the opposite. I've known them for years. RetroRGB.com wouldn't be where it is today without them. So I always told Lance, if you need me somebody to sweep the freaking floors, I will be there sweeping floors. I owe them big time. But yeah, so a lot of other ones not so cool. Excuse me. Wonderfish, though, to answer your question, this is actually Steve from RetroText Monitor. It was completely recapped and calibrated. It's as calibrated as a 36-inch consumer TV could ever be. So it's not going to be like a 20-inch BVM. It's not going to be like your OLED. It's still going to get fuzzier in the corners. But compare this thing to any other 36-inch tube TV out there now, and you'll see the difference. Not a fan of the TV in the darkness. You know what? Let me try flipping the lights on and see what happens. I don't blame you, and I bet you it's depending on where you're streaming from, it might be compressing the heck out of it too. So let's turn this on, and I could always turn it back off if you need. Oh, my giant head and neck are in there. Cheers. How heavy is it, and what are the inputs? Well, I could lift it, and I can't lift my own weight, so I would imagine it's 200-ish pounds, but it's certainly not up in the 240 range. And it's got all the inputs: component video, S video, composite video, and a bunch of each. Yeah, it's massive. My giant Romanian cranium to TV ratio. You can see you can see how big it is. Oh, you're in Jersey? Well, I might even be able to meet you then. I can meet you down in, like, at least Stamford or something. Um, so the only thing, was anybody on this stream when I was testing light guns? Some worked and some didn't, and I just don't understand. Maybe it's so big that the curvature of the screen messes with the gun, kind of the same reason that a flat tube might mess with the gun as well. So if you were looking for it specifically for light gun games, unless you were really local, I wouldn't do it, just because. But if you were looking for it because you're like, um, like you, Wonderfish, you got a 20-inch PVM, which is as sharp and beautiful as you can imagine, but sometimes you just want bigger. Like Voltar's wife always says, sometimes she just wishes he was bigger. And I get that, right? Because I when I had my XM29, it was the same thing. I love my PVM, but most of the time I would game on the XM29 because it kind of felt cooler being like enveloped by the TV. So yeah, I totally get it, and I still love my PVMs, but having a choice of which one was just so cool for me over the years. All right, so I don't think I could deadlift that. Does it have a slight bow on the right-hand side? No, I don't think so. I'm looking. Do you mean the lower right corner? I don't think so. Dan, thank you so much for the super chat. Much, much, much appreciated. The XM29 image quality is better than most PVMs. Depends on the PVM and it depends what your eyes like. But I do agree as like a general statement. But if you have yourself a really nice 20 M2U, even though technically it's a lower TV line count, that's still a gorgeous ass monitor. So let me catch up on the chat here in a second. I just want to get out of the way of these flying skeleton thingies. There we go. Let's see. I missed a couple. For a long time, they wondered how Phone Dork was able to move around so many CRTs. Yeah. Oh, then I saw Phone Dork. I was about to say, yeah, have you ever seen that dude's arms? Let's see. Is the TV RGB modded? No, but if you have an RGB to comp, that's how I was able to play all of the arcade games on this thing, and that's how I was able to test and confirm that Mortal Kombat's all work on this thing through the RetroTink RGB to comp, and that's also the reason why I did not RGB mod it, was because I just never needed to with that. Weight distribution is going to be a nightmare. I mean, all the weight's in the front, so I just smush my gut up against the glass, grab the sides, and lift. And I just try not to bend. I try to squat. Depending on the year, the weight will vary, but it's about 150. I mean, 150 pounds, not $150. That would make sense. I think it's a little heavier than that, because I know I got a lot weaker after my back blew out, but I still am kind of strong, especially for somebody that doesn't go to the gym. Oh yeah, you already corrected yourself. Sorry, Henry. Sorry, I'm still going through. Let me go back up real quick. No, the middle right edge, that might be some geometry. It might actually be the curvature of the tube that you're seeing, because this is a prime lens at a low f-stop, so that it could very well be that you're actually seeing the curvature of the tube go through. Size is the issue, not the weight. Yeah, it is very big. And this is not the proper stand for it. Weight-wise, it is, but you could see it hanging off the sides. You would really need something like the wire rack, or where I had it before on the main rack here. We can't all have an iron gut. The 35 36 D501 is 150 pounds. Huh. Well, thanks, Notchain, for swinging by. Really appreciate it. And, well, if this is 150 pounds, then I am getting weaker, which is depressing, Because I was always fat, but I was also always pretty strong, too. Matt, that's the beautiful thing about stuff like this. It doesn't matter. I mean that with love. If you like curved glass, awesome, you win. If you prefer flat, you still win. It's all subjective. Man, I just can't time that right, can I? Hey, Ivan. Yeah, and just to be clear though, while I just made my little comment about it, it's all the right way to play. I do always love discussing it as well. I know these days it's illegal to disagree with anybody about anything, but I love it. I love that my friends and I don't like all the exact same things and don't all agree on the same stuff. Makes life way more interesting. Oh, Matt, sorry I missed. I'm trying to play and read the chat, so that completely went over my head. You know what's funny, Jason, is if I had a smaller tube, you probably wouldn't be able to see that. But because this thing is so massive, like if I were to put this down and pick up the 32 inch, which is still pretty curvy, but you might it might not be as noticeable on camera. This is cool. I get to try continue here. Oh, I think I missed a few. Sorry. Rent optional. That's pretty funny. I mean, I definitely appreciate the fact that if you brought home a 14-inch tube and somebody gave you an earful over it, it's like you could put that thing in a closet. But a 36-inch, yeah, no, I completely get it. Wonderfish, if you're serious, it's yours. Honestly, I would just have you, like have PayPal ready or cash. Send the money to Steve. I'll meet you if you just want to throw me just a couple bucks for gas and beer. I could throw it in my truck. I could throw it in my truck right now if you wanted to. I don't know what the traffic's like today with the holiday weekend, but if you want to check your GPS, let me check mine too, just in case. It would be pretty funny if I ended the stream early to actually go and get rid of it, but let me see. It says I'm only 34 minutes from Stamford, so check your GPS and see. I don't think I have the remote for it, but they are very cheap and available on eBay. And even cheaper is like those universal remotes. Those $8 ones should work fine. Uh-oh. Matt, I'm in Seattle. I'll meet you halfway in Minnesota to pick it up. That's funny. Yeah, but Omar, you're not gonna you're not gonna get that on the train. I guess I could bring it to Manhattan, but that's I, you know I hate saying stuff like this because I feel like I sound like a piece of shit when I say it, but going to the city and back is like 30 bucks in gas for my truck and like 25-30 bucks in tolls. So like feel like such an ass being like, oh, if you want it, you have to pay me $70. But like if I didn't say that, I would lose $70. So it's so yeah. I mean, I could do that. Love how I'm streaming off the yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, it took a long time to set this up just to get it looking somewhat decent. Alright, so if I go all the way over here, I think there's something at the end of this below me, and then I gotta go under that. Hey! cubear! cubear is the person who helped me get this patch all together, sent me this over, did the Zero Emission soundtrack onto it. So thank you very, 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 very much. I really appreciate this. And I'm digging it so much. It just feels so much more natural having a little map, um, having the save feature. It just, I really, really am digging this. It kind of, I mean, it's starting to feel like a different game. I really hope Infidelity eventually, at some point, if enough people join Infidelity's Patreon, maybe we can get one of these made, not using Project Nested, and have it painstakingly converted, and then have this stuff built right in and designed for the SNES. So like a bigger map and stuff like that. Let me make it to the end of this room, which might even actually be a trap, and then I'll check the chat again. Well, nothing over here then. Dan said in the getting down to downtown Chicago is similar to New York City, um, in in the sense that the city isn't built for automobiles, and going deep in the city with something large is a huge pain. Yeah, Zion Farm, like I was saying before, it's this stream. As much as I'm loving this Metroid, the stream's about the TV. I'll swing back around again and play more of that game when once I have time to. But I wanted to highlight it, and I wanted an excuse to play it. It's so big it makes the SNES underneath look like a SNES Mini. That's true. Uh, X-Man, other than the obvious 160th shutter speed, uh, any tips for getting good images of a CRT? Patience. I know it sounds like bullshit, but honestly, this took me 30 minutes because this is the least worst of the moire pattern. If you have the camera, if I just went like this, that moire pattern would make it look like the TV was filled with interference all across the screen, and it's just glass pointed to glass. That's why it does that. So, and all manual settings are definitely a help. Wonderfish, if you could do it Friday during the day, that's the only problem. Um, I don't think I'd be able to do it at night, but I definitely would be able to get there by like noon or something. Um, if you're serious, if you still have my email, let me know. And if not, are you on any of the Discords I'm on? Wait, so this, if I went all the way left here, that was kind of a dead end, so I'd have to go right and down 2. Okay. Yeah, hold on a second, Zion Farm. Let me play this, let me play that back for you here. Is it nice? I remember to put pants on? So let me just walk you all through this. All right, Wonderfish, I'm just trying to figure out a way to get in touch with you without announcing any of our email over a live stream or something. Maybe drop it in the chat and then delete it right after or something, and I'll write it down. So those are the scratches on the glass. You can't really notice it when the TV's on, but you definitely notice it when it's off. That is zooming in to how amazing this thing looks and the sharpness of it. Those are the back inputs. Input 2 is either S-Video or component. You switch that in the menu. So the way I treated this was the inputs in back, I used a couple. Actually, you know what? Let me go back to that. So input 1 for me was S-Video. and I never used that yellow composite in. Input 2 for me is only component video, and then when I needed composite, I would plug it into the front, so that way all three inputs were there. And this, you can, if you needed to, have both input 1 and 2 working from S-Video. You just need to go into the menu and switch input 2 between component and S-Video. So it's kind of a fake fourth input, but setting it up the way I just described totally works. That's the model and everything. Steve sticker. Back of it's perfect. Sides of it are perfect. Top of it, some scratches, but I mean, really. Here's what's wrong with it. Missing the door. That's a plastic crack, which does not affect the stability of it at all, and those are scratches on the glass. Yeah, alright. I'm going to let this play. I'm going to log into Whatnot and see. I haven't logged into that ever since they told me they were going to screw me for the money that they owed me. so I haven't logged into that in a very long time. I don't even know if my account is still valid or if they deleted it after that little discussion. But that was very disappointing. Very, very, very disappointing. I worked my butt off for them, and yeah. Interesting. My login does not seem to be working. Okay, it says it texted me a code. Of course, it couldn't just give me a freaking code. Hold on, I get my phone. I'll get back to the game in a second. I just want to get this taken care of. Messages. All right, looks. I think this might be your email address. Is it voltarsucks@voltarsmodshop.com? Is that that the one that you just sent me? Make sure I get that right. Drop that back down. Don't want to be selling any kettles on eBay. I don't get the joke. I'm sorry, that went over my head. Can you buff out the scratches? Yeah. So, hold on. Let me look up this video. Gadget UK. Gadget UK 64. Let me drop this in the chat. Okay. I'm putting this in the chat right here for anybody. Yeah, James, the brightness is cranked up a little high, to be honest with you, at the moment. That's funny. Voltar just messaged me, and I saw it pop up, and I was like, oh shit, he heard me. He didn't hear me. He's messaging me about something completely different. Excuse me. So, I'm pretty sure if you use Gadget's method, you would be able to buff it out. The problem is I have terrible luck with stuff like that, so I just figured it would be better to leave it to somebody else. I just turned down the ISO a tiny bit. I don't know if that helps or hurts, but let me keep playing a little bit, and I could always change it back if you want. Yeah, because I gotta go down, right, and down too. Okay. Hey, the importer, thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really, really appreciate that. It's those go a very, very long way. Probably a lot more than people think. The importer said, "Damn, why isn't teleportation a thing yet?" Yeah, I agree. I've seen so many cool deals on things that I wanted that the trip to get it would be add a zero to the price. So I feel you. Yeah, agreed, Daniel. I don't know them, but the very few interactions I've had were always positive, and that always means a lot, you know. All right. So do I like drop down here or something? I totally forgot. Do I need the bomb? Do I have to backtrack now that I have? Oh wait, that was it. I have to backtrack now that I have missiles. Oh, and there was nothing there, and there was nothing there. Oh man, that's right. It's funny because I played Zero Mission a lot in the past couple of years. You know, every few years I'll play through it. So maybe in the past 10 years I've played through it 5 times, and then I've played the last Metroid one, the Retroid, and I loved that. But I haven't actually played original Metroid, original map in a very, very long time. All right, Wonderfish, I got your email. Thanks for confirming. Yeah, well, cubear, thanks to you, it's a lot more fair feeling right now. Well, actually, the importer, I've used Uship and had nothing but good experiences with them because it's a lot of people. It's very often companies or people who are already just traveling across the country anyway. I got a TV over to Shank, and it was some guy who does like American Ninja Warrior style things, and he just between gigs he does U-ship stuff, and he treated it really respectfully. When I sold my arcade machine, the people who showed up were like furniture movers, and they're like, "Well, according to U-ship's terms of service, we're not supposed to wrap it or touch it in any way, but this thing looks really nice, so I'm gonna put a blanket around it and strap it to the side." And like they're really really cool. So maybe I've just gotten lucky, but it's I've had very good luck with that. Did I play Samus Returns or Dread? I played them both. I beat Samus Returns and I liked AM2R better. I'm not trying to be insulting or anything. I did. I didn't think it was a bad game, but that parry effect thing, you know, where you have to, uh, I just hated it. I just, because I got big hands, and even playing on the XL or the regular 3DS, like it's hard to hold it, have the weight of the screen, get my big ass fingers over. So it just was. I didn't like that. I thought it took away from the game a lot. I don't know. Whereas when I played AM2R, it just felt like what Metroid 2 was always supposed to be. It was freaking amazing. As for Dread, I'd never beat it. I liked it a lot, but there was one boss that was so annoying, and I thought for sure it was one of those very Metroidy things where like, okay, so I have to then it must be that I have to, go back, get my energy tanks up, build my life up, and then go back and beat the boss, which is fine. That's a very Metroidy thing to do. So I did that. I went back and I got a bunch more missiles. I found some more energy tanks, and then I went back to the boss and I just randomly beat him, like easy, and I didn't need any of the extra stuff. And I found a couple different places like it. So by the time I got to the very, very last boss, I'm like, because that boss I'm talking about, I forgot which one it was, but I probably played him 100 times. So I got to the final boss, and I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to grind 100 more times just to, just to get lucky once and win. It wasn't about strategy. It was just so yeah. Now that said, you know, Metroid games, the 2D Metroids, Super Metroid, Metroid 2, those are my favorites. Even Fusion, I loved Fusion. I loved Zero Mission. So when when something when a game could be amazing and they just kind of screw it up, it really pisses me off because it's so close. Alright, so I think I gotta go back left, because now I have the missiles. Yeah. I would like to give it another try. I would actually like to give a lot of this stuff another try on emulation and rendering it in higher resolutions. Both to stick my finger in the air up at Nintendo, but also because I'm interested to see what it's like. And I also want to replay Other M in Dolphin. I just keep forgetting to. But I really liked Other M. It wasn't my favorite, but I never went back and replayed it. So, I'd love to see it again. Was it 10 years later or something? More than that now? I already got this thing, right? No. Okay. Beautiful. Here we go. Sorry for all the sniffling. I'm still getting over that cold. Oh, no bombs yet. Ooh. Alright, so I get that. Do I try going up again, or was that another locked? Yeah, let me see. I don't think I can. By the way, Wonderfish, just for you, tomorrow when I record the weekly podcast, I'm gonna leave this TV exactly where it is, just as like a farewell send off to it, and just leave it right in the background in sight while I'm doing the podcast tomorrow. Yeah, cubear, the pure blacks and 0 milliseconds response time of a CRT is godlike. Yeah, I mean, you know, OLED with BFI and higher refresh rates are starting to come close, but really, and plasmas were excellent, but there really wasn't anything else that touches it ever since in between them, really. So from what the last really good CRTs in the mid 2000s, so 20 years almost. No, I guess 10 years, because my 2016 OLED doesn't suck. So yeah, we had a period of about 10 years then that you couldn't get an affordable TV that came close to a CRT as far as motion blur, color reproduction with the black levels, and of course lag. Um, Dan, thank you again for the super chat. Much, 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 much appreciated. Um, are you like me and out of space with so many CRTs? Yes, I absolutely am. I'm gonna have to sell a bunch more, to be honest. Oh, that's so cool. I'm gonna have to sell a bunch more in the coming months. Probably the E Series BVM, a 20-inch 1000 TVL BVM. So it's basically the density of a 14-inch monitor, but 20-inch. That'll probably be my next, but it's gonna be super expensive because that came from Pat, and that was actually a monitor I said I would never ever ever sell. But I'm gonna have to start clearing a lot of stuff out. Unfortunately, that's life though. But I was actually really hoping that I could find some kind of sponsor that would donate all this stuff to a museum, or sponsor me to get all this stuff together into a museum. Because no disrespect. I mean, everybody's. I hope everybody could find a BVM someday, but I think it's more important that these things are in places where people are able to actually experience and play them. Rent optional. Going to any concerts this summer? I almost went to see the Halo Effect until the very last minute. I realized Jesper is home and drunk again. So that made me sad, and he is the reason why I play guitar the way I do. Dave Mustaine is why I play guitar, and you hear a lot of his playing in mine. But that what sets me apart, that's Jesper. So It just made me sad that he wasn't going to be there. Let's see. What else we got? There was one other question. One or two. Thoughts on Valve and Nintendo blocking the publishing of Dolphin on Steam. So I did like a quick little post, but I mostly defaulted to Modern Vintage Gamer. But two thoughts on that. First of all, I mean, it was their intellectual property that was being used, those crypto keys. So, I mean, I don't blame them at all. They have to put that stance down because otherwise, what's stopping people from just posting the schematics of the Switch online? So that I sympathized with. But their bullshit about emulation taking away from the experience, and I think that was a PR mistake. I think what they meant was piracy takes away from the experience, not emulation. But that was amazingly annoying to hear, and very, very Nintendo-like. Let's see. 27. I had 30 or 40 at one point. I think I'm down to like 20. Henry Clark wants a 25 to 27 curved tube with component. The JVC D36D501 could do that, no problem. I know you said you already have a 32-inch. I would also look into Sony curved tube TVs, the FV, I believe, because those could be fairly easily RGB modded. In fact, I have a 20-inch here that I will be RGB modding at some point relatively soon. So I can go down here now. Let me try. Meeple Winston, any of those other CRT monitors you're going to sell be a VGA? I have a brand new 14 or 17-inch IBM monitor. The only time it was ever used was in that classic gaming on VGA monitors video. So however many hours it took to shoot that, I did all the calibration on the PVM. So 3 hours of use total. So I would sell that one, but that's brand new. So that's that one, it's not going to be $100. I also have a Gateway Vivitron 21-inch that a buddy of mine gave me for a very good price, and he said he had another one for me that I would like to check out because it's got slightly different features, so I would definitely sell that. It's very heavy, but it's the exact monitor I showed on that stream where I showed Dreamcast on a 20-inch L series PVM versus that, and it looked just like it. So, luckily I do live streams with all this, so I have proof that they're actually good. Graphics Gear, what about the Panasonic Tau CRTs? Amazing for everything except 240p. If you have like a scaler or something, sure, but if you had a Wii or a PlayStation 2, I guess maybe a GameCube, Xbox as well, but very specifically stuff that's 480i and 480p only, that is probably some of the best CRTs you could get for it. Yeah, agreed, Dan. The only other thing I would add to that is you have to make sure that the CRT is new enough that it's bright. Because once you add those scan lines, I believe I showed that too a couple times in multiple streams. But once you turn on scan lines, it makes the image much darker, but it also makes it look just like a PVM or BVM, depending on your monitor. So agreed completely. You wouldn't be able to use an old dim monitor, whereas you totally could use an old dim monitor for just plugging in your Dreamcast or something like that. Dan, if you'd like that, just use the GBS control. Once again, I still have a cold and I'm a little grumpy, so if any of these answers are coming out snippy, I do not mean it that way at all. I meant that just picture me, beer in my hand, smile on my face. That's how I'm answering these. But yeah, I think that's why Mike wouldn't have done that. That and the Tink 2X, if you get an $8 HDMI to VGA converter, it's the same thing. I think I showed that in the video too, the classic gaming on VGA monitors. This should all be in that video. I think if you just type RetroRGB VGA into YouTube, that'll come up. Oh, honestly, it's not nearly as intimidating as I thought it was. Because before I met Rama, and I had heard about that project, I was like, so you have to take apart this thing, you have to hack it, and you have to load up this probably buggy firmware. That's dumb. I'm not going to do it. And I think it was actually Voltar that was like, no, you're dumb. Give this thing a try. And I did, and I was like, oh, shit. That's why people are talking about this. I get it now. So it's not nearly as bad as you'd think. I did a video on that, too. And while the GUI has changed, the installation instructions are the exact same. See, this is the downside of having a small map and not having it show where you've been before, because I just backtracked to the beginning of the game mistakenly. By the way, if anybody wants me to turn the lights on or off, change the ISO on my camera, anything that you would just like to see it, even if, you know, the monitor is pretty much already sold, but if you just want to see it, you're into this stuff the way I am, let me know. I'll gladly change up some settings. Dan made sure to use the affiliate link. Thank you, Dan. I'm very much appreciated. It makes a difference, right? That $8 VGA adapter, that might have only gotten me a penny, but you know, if a lot of people buy that shit starts to really quickly add up. It's like convenience stores, right? That pack of gum that they made 5 cents on, you know, that doesn't really seem like a lot at the time, but at the end of the month, it's a lot of money in gum. Hey, what's up, you dad? Yeah, Maple. So the reason that some things will work with a zapper when you run them through HD CRTs or on VGA monitors is just because of how the zapper inherently works is different than other stuff. So you might get lucky. Samolo! Hello, hello! Rent, I showed that a couple of times. I'll show that again the next time I get up. But it has 3 discrete. So it's got composite and stereo audio in front. And in the back, it has either composite or S-video, which is input 1, either composite or S-video, which is input 2, and input 2 could also be component video if you switch it in the menu. So that's why I said it's got 4, but really 3, because you could leave the component and the second S-video plugged in at the same time if you wanted, but you still have to go into the TV's menu and change it every time you want to switch between them. Which I don't recommend doing because you're going to forget. I forgot. I must have spent a whole 10 minutes figuring out why my Extron crosspoint switch no longer was sending a signal to my TV until I realized, you moron, it's because you have it set to S-video, not component. Maybe I go all the way down from the bottom for this. Is that where I missed on this one? Ah, Wonderfish, thank you for the super chat. That's really nice. Yeah, no, it's, you know, you got to do what you got to do these days, but I appreciate working out how to get in touch with each other without calling out each other's emails on screen. Sony Multiscan 400 PS generates nice native scan lines when they set the video scaler to 512 by 448, which is technically out of spec. That's interesting. I never messed with that. I'm always fascinated with how my fellow nerds make their CRTs look and act different, because I was just always lucky enough to be at the right place at the right time and get CRTs. So all of my experimentation was because I was curious, whereas a lot of my friends, their experimentation with this stuff was because they didn't have any other choice. So they put in some serious hours trying to make it look good, and oh boy, does it. They did a great job. Why do I have a feeling I'm just lost and walking in circles? Try going back down, I guess. Alright. I think I already went down and to the left, and I think that's where I got missiles or something. But let me run back there real quick, in case I missed something. Is that like that must be a bomb thing. The only thing that's kind of funny is I have this up on a higher stand so that I can have the camera here and, you know, my head won't be in the way. But it is kind of weird looking up at a giant TV when I spent so much time and effort ever since I started RetroRGB to make sure that my TVs are always centered so that you're looking in the middle of the TV and not, you know, looking up or looking down at it. I feel like one of those people with a flat panel above their fireplace. Check the chat, like half the people watching just signed off, like, screw you, my TV looks great above my fireplace. I totally don't get neck aches at all. Sorry, I'm just being silly. James, I've actually never played Knights of the Round. Wonder if I should get to see my glorious 2000 Ford Ranger. Some people seem to think I'm kidding when I tell them I drive a 23-year-old truck, but nope, love that thing. Uh, you know, I was actually thinking, James, of doing stuff like that, like reactions to people's setups, working on setups with people, and I'm just not really sure the best way to go about doing it. But I think that'd be pretty fun, and I think a lot of people who understand my twisted nerd sense of humor would also enjoy stuff like that, because I would totally be silly about certain things. No, I would never shame somebody for their setup, but I'm definitely gonna, you know, make silly tease comments like just like I just said about your TV above your fireplace. That actually is the perfect place for a TV, depending on your room. But like, so I want to try to do that in a way where people don't walk away from it going, "Did that asshole just make fun of people for like, you know, people who asked them to do that?" I don't want it to come across like that. So I would love to do it in a way where we all have fun with it. Kind of like the way we used to do the retro roundtable, where we would just make fun of each other, and almost everybody got the joke. And then when a lot more listeners came, most people didn't get the joke anymore, so we kind of had to stop. Yeah, funny enough, Wonderfish, I had 2001 Sport Track, or maybe it was a 2, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But it got to the point where it was like, it was gonna be. I'd already put a bunch of money into it over the years, and I think there was something wrong where it was gonna be $2,500 to fix, and some car dealership was having some whatever scam special where they were gonna give me $5,000 for the car or something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, if you take that into account, I buy a new car at 0% down, 0% financing, and trade that thing in for definitely more than it's worth. And I had to do it. It was totally the right move too. I don't think I know where I'm going. If I get to the end of this and there's nothing here, one of you might need to jump in and help me out. Yeah, there's nothing here. It's just a wall. Can I go in? I must be missing bombs. Not sure what you mean, shooter. So I guess I need bombs, but I don't know where the bombs are. So I guess I could try going back and going down. Hopefully I don't die. This is giving me. I know I probably say this every time I play Metroid on stream, but it's giving me flashbacks to when I was a kid, and half of me was just so unbelievably fascinated and enthralled with the whole exploration element of the game, but the other half of me is like, so it looks exactly like the last section, but orange instead of brown or whatever. Like, how the hell am I supposed to know where I'm going? Ah, damn it. If I did something like that, I think I would want to go through uh, and make fun of my setup first for all the things about it. People were really kind to me when I did a room tour. Nobody really made fun of me for having speakers that were all different heights off the ground, which I fixed all of that. But I did that because at the time, what was more important was getting all my stuff in the room, not getting the best sound. And then once I was able to work through all that, then I moved all the speakers. So, you know, that's kind of why I'm okay making jokes about this stuff, because sometimes it's the best for that moment, even though it's not the best. But I'd love to still go through and make fun of the crap that I have in here that's just so ghetto. Wires tied together to make things work just because I just either don't have time to fix it or I'm waiting for a better solution, which is on the way. Hardcore, I kind of went through it before, but I need more space in here. And I have both a 36-inch and a 32-inch version of this. And this is actually Steve from RetroTex, and the other one was the one that Jose and I had rebuilt from scratch. So just for sentimental reasons, I wanted to keep that one. Also because the 32-inch fits on a different shelf that this one wouldn't. So it was one of those things where it's like, I would love to have kept this forever, but I'd much rather have it go to a home where somebody would just appreciate it the way I have up until now. All right, so I can't I can't go up any farther, right? Because this was where that's where the jump wasn't high enough, I think. Right. So I need the high jump, so I got to go down. Shoot out the ceiling, jump up and over. Here? Do you mean here? Retro YPVPR. That actually looks. That sounds like a perfectly reasonable setup. Just don't make any silly mistakes like get yourself G-Comp and G-SCART, and then you have everything wired with the comp to RGB or vice versa, and then you get an AliExpress SCART cable to connect them. Unfortunately, the D32 is probably going to have to be sold at some point. And I already got a few very high offers for what it's worth, for what people have been buying them for. Not for more than that, but still a lot of money. It just, stuff like that, that's not a impulse buy where you hop in your car and drive down. But I mean, I don't need to sell it yet, which is why I don't feel like I have to rush out and do it. If somebody's not going to pay me what they already sell for, then why would I sell it? It's weird. I always feel so douchey saying things like that, but it also makes pragmatic sense, right? Like, why would I just sell something for cheaper when other people are paying more money for it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if everybody is buying the exact model Honda Civic you have for 10 grand, why would you sell it for 5, right? There's no reason to. Just wait. Yeah, I need the freeze beam, right? But where the hell could I go to get that? I got so much farther in Retroid, Super Metroid hack of with the Metroid map than I did with this so far. I'm still enjoying it. I hope I'm not boring you all to death. I just don't really know what I'm supposed to do because I can't go down. I don't have the bomb, and I don't have the freeze beam, so I'm stuck in all of these places. Yeah, hardcore. I have one. It's amazing, but it's nothing's ever going to replace the way a CRT looks. It just might be. It just might replace what you need from it. Excuse me. Whew. I guess the best example, right? I always like doing these experiments where I'll take an old TV show, right? Like Golden Girls, Absolutely Fabulous, whatever, and I'll play it to non-nerds, and we'll do half on a flat panel with with all the settings done right, a good scaler, a good deinterlacer, and then I'll play the other half in 480i on a CRT, and everyone, hands down, non-nerds, people that don't care about this stuff too, all say the CRT looks better. However, the amount of people that say they would go through the trouble of wheeling over a CRT, buying two displays, it's even nerds are like, oh man, this is so good. I love this, but I'm not dealing with it. Like, I'll just watch Netflix on my phone then, and I get it. That doesn't make me mad. It's exactly like old cars. Like, how many times have you seen those little local car shows where people bring their kids and they love it and they appreciate everything about it, and it's like, oh, would you ever want one? No, I'm not gonna buy this thing that I'm gonna drive 3 times a year and always have to fix something that breaks on it. So I totally get it. Excuse me. I'm gonna be right back. I think I should just clear my head out here for a moment. Oh, sorry about that. You should know I wasn't BSing the past 2 podcasts I did. I really am sick. Who the hell gets sick in June? What the hell? uh, just watched some old Power Rangers DVDs on their OLED versus 480p on their 20L5, and it did look better on the 20L5. Yeah. What's really interesting, which you could totally do this with the RetroTink 5X, is if you load up some of those scanline filters, the goal would be to get it. So, like, sit halfway between your couch and your TV and dial in the scan lines the way you like them, and then go sit on your couch or chair or whatever. And at first, your brain's going to be like, oh, I did it wrong because I can't see the scan lines. But that's the key. That right there is where you start to gain stuff from it, because then it cuts through the image and it gets the perception of higher resolution and sharpness, but you don't actually just have this dark mask going over your screen. Beef! What's up, Beef? Wait, am I going? Alright. The Mega Man 91. Hey, Master Saver. Sure. What's up? I wish I was. I wish I was. Alright. So, I just can't get anywhere there. So let me try going back up, and maybe try going up and to the right and see what happens. And I will continue to play this game. Maybe I could, if the save files will copy over, maybe I could try different patches too, and see what else. Because so far I like this one. I wish the map was bigger, but the most important thing that I think it's missing, even if the map was the same size, is changing colors when you've been to a new area. That is just a huge thing for exploration games. And I always like to try to make games fair feeling, right? Like, I don't like games where I feel like I'm cheating, but in real life, if you walk around with a map in your hands, you could mark off wherever you get to different areas. So, feel like it's fair. Yeah, Rick would be upset because you'd make his ass pick it up. This thing weighs a ton. Yeah, the 110-inch 16K display. Yeah, the FPGA needed to drive something like that. It's probably $10,000. I'm not even being silly or sarcastic. I'm being legit. And it's got to be an FPGA because there's no way there's a system on a chip for that yet. So the company that demoed it probably just bought the most expensive FPGA out there, or multiple working in tandem, and had to hard code it to do stuff like that. I guess with a super high video card, and you might be able to, but I don't know. All right, so if I want, let me try going. Let me try going up. If I can make it without needing the high jump, I'll do this, and if not, then I'll go to the right. Anybody here going to Retro World Expo in August? I know that's a long way for you and Rick there, Beef, but still would be awesome to see you. I'm definitely going to be there Saturday. I'm going to try like hell for Sunday too, but depending on a whole bunch of things that might not even be possible for me. But without a doubt, I will be there on Saturday. Unless they scheduled me a panel on Sunday, and then I'll have to figure out a way to make that work. But if that's the case, I might actually have to drive up just for the panel or something. Alright, so this was where I needed the bombs. So I'm going to go right here and try this again and see what I missed. You know, missing out on Sunday, it's the least worst of, right? Because you get there Friday, you hang out with your friends. Saturday the expo starts, you hang out with everybody. Saturday night, everybody gets shit faced, and Sunday's fun, and it's always good to see people Sunday. But I don't think, generally speaking, like if you go to the expo and leave right after it closes, or if you have to leave halfway through the day, it's not like you miss everything, right? You might just miss one or two things. So if you had to choose, Saturday is usually the day to go. Yeah, sure. You have a bit of a longer flight than most other people in this chat here. So yeah, you got to pass. Congratulations, by the way. That's absolutely awesome. You get married. Yeah, music festivals, and they always schedule that one awesome band on a Sunday afternoon to try to get you to stay. The last time I went to Ozfest, so obviously more than 10 years ago, but I think they put Soil Work on at like 9 o'clock in the morning. I was so annoyed, and they started In Flames like 10 minutes early. So I think I left Rob Zombie early, knowing that was going to happen, and ran from one, because they were Rob Zombie was on one stage and In Flames was the other. I just ran from one to the other and made it just as the opening music to Cloud Connected was, what started to play. Beer break. There's a music festival with 25,000 people right down the street this weekend every year. I hope it's music you like. Jeez. By the way, just for anybody who's curious, this is playing on the Mister. So, anybody who's using these, excuse me, some of these MSU1 Audio NES to SNES hacks, it is possible on Mister. I believe there was just one thing that you had to look out for. cubear, if you're still here, would you mind letting me know so I could just tell everybody who's listening? EOL has a Sony PVM-14M4U. How much do they go for? Unfortunately, my friend, that's like saying how much does a car go for? What condition is it in? How many hours does it have? Is the tube bright? Has it been recapped? Has it not been recapped? There's just I'm pretty sure that model has RGB inputs, but just confirm, is it the model with RGB inputs? There's certainly a lot that goes into this. So, but I mean, oh, I missed this the whole time. I wasted a half hour running around when it was here. What an idiot! Sorry, everybody. But really, anywhere between $100 and $1,000, depending on what it's got and why. Saw Willie Nelson this weekend. Smoked joint and bounced. I can't believe he's still alive. That's amazing. Yeah, I would love to go out to see Midwest Gaming Classic, but I would need them to sponsor me to get out there. And I was just telling everybody before the last expo that told me they were going to pay for a plane ticket. They didn't buy the ticket for me. They told me buy it. Then the event got rescheduled. Then they never invited me back. And then when I asked them to reimburse me for the plane ticket that I bought and never used and expired, because I was waiting for them to invite me back, they completely ghosted me. I think they just have me muted now. So, $320 down the drain. So I'm not. I can't do it anymore. I don't want to repeat that whole rant I went on at Q&A that time, but it is accurate. It might have been a rant, but it is 100% accurate. No, 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 it wasn't. That was not MGC. No. All right. So I need the ice beam for that too, but at least I have the bomb now, so I could go back up. So I should just be able to go left. No, I might even be. All right, all right, all right. Cool, cool. An AccuRant. I'm gonna call it that. That's funny. Damn. Isn't there a way to? Ah, ha, ha. Here we go. Wow, there still is quite a bit of slowdown here. Hey, what's up, Clint? All right, so I got the ice beam. All right, so I'm catching up. I wandered around like an idiot for a half hour, but I got it. Solar Strike. This is exactly how I'm using this game. I have it loaded on my Retro NAS, and I'm playing Mister, loading it over the network. Use it all the time. Absolutely love it. I haven't even had a chance to try some of the new features. Luckily, though, that install video, that's pretty much still accurate. The only thing is, Space Invader 1, Ed, was supposed to have put out a video about how to. Oh, geez, I hope I still have the ice beam. Was supposed to have a video out soon about how to use it with Unraid, and that's how I'm using it. And the manual installation, the guide that Dasutin did, Dustin, still works, still awesome, but Space Invader 1 has a slightly easier way to do it. And you can try figuring it out yourself if you add the the app in the Unraid software, but I was kind of waiting for his video. So I like that you keep your weapons when you die in this hack because there are no save stations. If there were save stations, that would be different because then I think you should still go and have to hit your save station to keep your upgrades. But I actually think this is that works well doing it that way. All right. Should I go down here or should I have been wandering through the the other spots that I didn't get to yet. Like, am I just jumping the gun here, or should I go back up here? Can't remember. Sip some beer and think about that. Hmm. I think that looks like something I should do later on. That's nothing, right? Yeah. I do understand that this was an absolute marvel on 8-bit consoles, but does anybody else find it kind of funny that Samus Aran could travel around the galaxy, eradicate an entire species of evil aliens, but she can't shoot down? Shoot up, but down can't do it. Clint is still open ZFS, but that's because he's a BSD dork for years, and they're friends with the people that make True NAS, Free NAS. That's yeah, you know, whatever works for you. I just I've gotten lazy in my old years, and I want a GUI. I don't want to have to open up a command prompt to do anything that's not development. Solar Strike could go either way. Honestly, I feel like I earned it. I'm an old man. I grew up in a time where there was no Windows for most people. I didn't even have a hard drive on my first two computers. You had to boot, you had to type everything into the DOS prompt every time that you wanted to load anything. And any gamers that are about my age remember that very often you would exit Windows 3.11 and run all your games manually in DOS because it would run faster. You wouldn't have the overhead of Windows over it. I feel like I paid my dues. I'll make it pretty so I could click on it. And all jokes aside, the Chewy that's in RetroNAS, more than good enough for me. All right, where are we at here? Oh, come on. Should I be going right there? Should I not be going up and exploring some more? Remember the run out of DOS, yeah. Yeah, the other cool thing about RetroNAS is if you really needed to, for whatever reason, you could run that on a Raspberry Pi and then just connect that to whatever existing NAS solution you have. Alright, so this is getting to Turian. That's right. So let me go back down then and go right again and then back up. Wasn't there like wasn't there something in this area or in this room right here? Or am I thinking of another Metroid game? Where like you pass through this area a lot throughout the game and you never realized there was like an energy tank there or something. Hmm. Oh yeah, out of memory on certain DOS games, definitely. I remember wanting to play a newer, for the time, King's Quest game, and my Tandy 1000 only had 256K of RAM, which was an upgrade from the built-in 128K, but this needed 640K of RAM, so I couldn't do it. Alright, so this must be the one where I gotta go right. I feel like I'm getting lost again. Yeah, exactly. Starting Windows was optional. I can't remember. And that's how long ago it's been since I've installed this, but did you still had to load DOS before loading Windows 95, right? It was 98 that was the first to remove DOS altogether, in NT, but I'm talking for the home user ones. Windows 95 didn't require DOS. Interesting. Wonder what I'm remembering. And I'm assuming I need the high jump to get there, so we'll give you the high jump first. My God, Windows Millennium. I think that might be the worst version of Windows. I think Vista comes close. I think it's Millennium, 8, and Vista as far as the worst, and then the top two runner up. So where do I go? Anybody got any clues on what I'm supposed to do in this one? Get to this a different way. Get to this that way, maybe. Because that's where I came from. Yeah, maybe that was just the other dead end. And that's where I died last time, and I said I was going to come back up here, which just brought me to missiles. So I guess now I got to go all the way back down to the other thing like I was at before. Alright, I think here's where I would drop all the way down. Yeah, alright. Try not to die until I at least get to the area that I'm going to. Wait, no. Right? Yeah, okay. Vista's biggest problem was how Microsoft internally handled it. Every time there was an update, it had to get run by teams that didn't necessarily have anything to do with one another. It was very bureaucratic for absolutely no reason, and that's when 7 came out. Microsoft made a very big push to say, listen, everybody work on their own thing. We have, cut the amount of managers and checks and balances by more than half. Let's get this thing out and let's make it the best it can. I know that for a fact because I was at a couple of different Microsoft offices. Chicago was the biggest one I was at, but we at the time were actually a Microsoft partner that was doing cable cards, and we were one of the few. So even though we were a small company, we actually got access to stuff that mostly big companies would have access to. Really, no chumps like me could ever have gotten that. So I got a lot of inside info, and I helped beta test Vista, and it was a nightmare. We never used it professionally on any of our computers. We stayed with XP and then went to 7. 7 embedded actually was pretty excellent. Hmm. No, I'm not ready to die yet. God damn it. Oh, that's kind of bullshit, but alright. Aw. Let's see, where do I end up here? So that's just where I was, right? I never figured out how to get to that last piece, though. Alright, let me try dropping down this time, maybe? See what we got. Ooh, what do we have here? Oh, nice. This is the farthest I've gotten in the original Metroid in a long time. Too high. I wish I was too high. Hey, Solar Strike, how's it going? Yeah, doing good. I had just wanted to say goodbye to this amazing monitor and try a new combination of hacks of Metroid on the Super Nintendo, and it's been absolutely awesome. Always way more fun when I'm hanging out with all of you and doing it at the same time than just doing it myself. So that's why I love doing these streams. Oh, look at that! All right, all right. Mm. Oh man, this is awesome. I got lost for like a half hour before. Oh, this is great. I probably should quit playing and go do actual work, but this is too much fun. I kind of want to do this. I might stop at the next time I get to like a new section so that I can save there and continue. And then tonight, tomorrow, whenever else, like later at night, instead of watching TV before bed, I might just come back and stream this and do the opposite. Have it plugged in HDMI so that you could hear the amazing soundtrack and all that stuff to it. Um, and I wouldn't even set up my webcam at that point. I would just took it all up. Oh, but what monitor would I use? Would I use the 32-inch version? Or would I use the... Ah, that actually might make sense. Use the 32 and see how what I think the differences are. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, excuse me, I didn't see you there with my screw attack on. This is just why, one of the many reasons why I love the Metroidvania genre, because it's like, the ones that are built correctly, you work your butt off. You play the game for 2 hours straight, and you're trying to figure out what to do, and then you get these upgrades, and then that allows you to kind of do more with the game. So certain parts of the game are still harder, but other things are easier. You're rewarded for your hard work. Love it. Ooh, wait, that looked interesting. So I can go back that. All right, well, that looks like there's something there, so I'll go, but that also looks like there's. That's how I get to the other stuff. So, all right. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Honestly, Solar Strike, any CRT that you like, that you own, that works well, was a win. Period. End of story. Such a misconception that people think like I only game on BVMs and everything else is just inferior. It's absolute bullshit. cubear, not sure if you still happen to be listening in, but the sound's been perfect. There hasn't been a single sound glitch at all. The soundtrack sounds amazing. Thank you for your work doing this. Really, really appreciate it. I don't actually think I've ever gotten the screw attack in the original Metroid before, ever. So it's kind of interesting to see how it feels. It's not as forgiving as the Super Metroid one. I agree, Clint. Symphony of the Night's amazing. I think Super Metroid's always going to be my favorite, just because. But yeah, it's a phenomenal game. I really want to go back and play that on Mister at some point with Robert's core. I know you already have. I think you did that back in beta even. I think that would be pretty cool because I played Symphony of the Night. I played it mostly on a PS3 to test out compatibility and stuff. So it was kind of interesting that I didn't get the true experience, if you will. So I think that would be because playing it on the PS3 was really soft. Right? When I eventually moved it over to the Slim and then finished on the OSSC, it was way better. What do I have here? Oh, never mind. I get it. I got it. Oh shit! Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Out of my way! Ah! Whew. All right. I kind of knew there was going to be something here for there to be that long passage, so I'm just going to backtrack and go down. And yeah, wow, long way to go wandering for an energy tank, but those things are few and far between in this original Metroid game. James, yeah, looks like somebody's going to be meeting me on Friday to pick it up. So now the stream has just turned into me enjoying this CRT for probably the last time. I have a 32-inch version of it, and it's going to a good home and all that, but I really needed the space, so I just thought it's kind of perfect send-off. Uh, believe it or not, Solar Strike, a flat panel. At the moment, it's my Panasonic Plasma, but I'm deciding what to do with the space back there. And there's been so many times where I've needed to test something that I've either had to fire up a projector, which is not good to just fire up a projector, you know, use it for 3 minutes to turn it back off again. It's not, I don't think they're designed to do that. Or I've had to hook up a computer monitor. And I think there's also an advantage for testing reasons to have a flat panel down here as well. So yeah, I'm going to put the plasma for now, and I would, if I sell that E-Series PVM, I might end up getting a brand new OLED, and I really would love to experiment with the 144 hertz OLED, the Samsung one, which is stupidly expensive, but I think I'd be able to do a lot of testing on that to determine quite a lot from FGCOS to emulation to scalars. I think that would end up being an awesome TV and a very important tool for me, which is the only reason I'm even considering spending that much money. Which is funny. I figure out how to get paid better for some of the research that I do. I wish I had an in at LG where I could just go in and be like, first of all, buy Mike Chi. So second of all, hire me for just a year. All of your techs are far smarter than me, but I have a perspective you're clearly not thinking of, and see what happens. Uh, 321 My Destiny. I think you're gonna find that they're basically the same thing in most cases. I think the bigger difference between a 20L5 and a D20 is I think if one had less hours on it than the other and a brighter tube, that would be a far bigger difference. And yes, technically speaking, if you transported back in time and you got two off the assembly line that were perfectly calibrated, the D20 might be a little bit better, but it's also going to have a couple more sync issues that the L series just doesn't have. Which you can get around all of that now with some of the very awesome stuff we have in retro, but at the same time, it's like, do you really want to deal with all that? Ooh, I'm going off map. Where am I? James, all the time. Um, these days I do more experimenting than anything else, but all the time old TV shows and old movies, and I watch them on CRTs. I watch them through mic scalars. I watch them on the projector, and I try to I try to figure out what's the best overall experience. And very often the CRT looks best, but because it's very small relative to your modern flat panels and a projector, trying to make it work on those other displays is always worth the time. And a lot of other people who I've had over seem to agree. Even people who think that CRTs look better, a lot of people seem to agree. Like, yeah, CRT looks better, but you have this, 90-inch projector screen. That looks pretty damn cool too. So these eyeballs encrusted in bubbles. Mega Man 91. I have absolutely no business telling anybody which flat panel TV to buy, especially one that's $4,500 if you want the bigger one. My guess is that it's going to be basically equal to the LG OLED. And when I say basically, yes, you could nitpick in the differences, and one might be better than the other, but compared to the TVs that we have now, they're going to be the same, equally as amazingly better. It's my guess with that one, but I don't know for sure. shit. Oh, did I just kill myself here? Damn. Oh, I hope this is now the stream ends. How the hell do I get out of this? Anybody? Am I just total? Oh, oh, oh! I don't know what the hell I just did. You can double jump off the side of this? That's cool. Yeah, HDTV test, Vincent, is phenomenal. I tweeted him too, and he answered me on a couple of questions. Seems like a nice guy. And I like his weird sense of humor. All of his silly jokes crack me up every time. Alright, if that's supposedly a dead end, there's gotta be something here, I hope. No, it doesn't give you a space jump. Am I not able to screw attack these things? Oh, I guess I am. Alright. The screw attack hit detection is not the best. Oh, come on. James, yeah, I talked a lot about the Duo in I think last week's podcast, but the short version is basically that I was very disappointed that they didn't decide to charge a little more and include OpenFPGA on it, but it looks awesome. And my favorite thing about it is, unlike a lot of the other analog consoles, it doesn't just sort of kind of resemble the original, it actually looks like the original, which I think is something that was always kind of missing from the analog consoles. You know, if you're going to build something based a lot on nostalgia, give it the look and feel of it too. So I think it's going to be awesome. I actually was lucky enough. All right. So by the way, these bubble things, if you jump and push up against them, it seems like you could double jump on that. But anyway, a friend of mine was nice enough to send me the money and say buy one, test it, and then send it on to them. So I actually am going to have two to test, one in each color, because two people said the same thing, which I thought was really, really cool. Hey, thanks, Zoomer. The other thing about the Duo, too, that I thought is if it did support OpenFPGA, if you're a big fan of the PC Engine consoles and the Duo, like, wouldn't you rather have something that looks like that sitting under your TV playing all your cores? Like, looks like the console that you really love and you want to be part of your setup? So that's kind of why it was really disappointing that they didn't include it. But, I bet you it's going to work great for the cores that it does support. Wow, did you see the screen just glitch out? This is kind of one of the side effects of Project Nested. Absolutely phenomenal project. So cool, so impressive, but you do get glitching like that. Whereas on Infidelity's work, they're generally pretty streamlined. So Mega Man 91, just my opinion here. Only my opinion. But if you're using the RetroTink 2X Pro, which is a 480p device, um, LCD and OLED, you're not going to really get anything. If you are going to go up to OLED, you're going to want to go to RetroTink 5X, or I guess maybe if you want to wait till next year, the RetroTink 4K. But I think that's going to be expensive, and the 5X isn't going away, and it's not. Sorry to sidetrack here, but it does kind of annoy me that so many people, when something new comes out, just immediately assume the old one's shit. The RetroTink 5X is always going to be amazing. So if you wanted to grab one of those in an OLED, you would notice like a holy shit, oh my god, what a difference. But with the 2X, I don't know if it would be that stunning of a difference. Staggering, whatever. It's not confirmed for 2024, but I'm pretty sure. Hey, cubear. I was actually talking about you before. I just wanted to let you know the sound has been perfect on this. Even when the game has been glitching a little bit, like you may have just saw, the sound has really been perfect. So thank you so much for your work. My goal is to get to one more area and then just kind of call it and save it for now. But I want to get to another area, so it feels like all this work was I don't have to go and backtrack again. Although I guess if I died right now, backtracking might be faster, but it feels like cheating. Oh, so you guys are seeing this? It just disappeared. Ah, yep. Interesting. Mega Man. One other thing you might want to try, and this might sound crazy, I know, but try turning the sharpness all the way up on your TV to see how it looks with a RetroTink 2X. Most TVs for years, their sharpness was just dumb. I don't even understand why they included it. It looks terrible. It didn't make the scaling seem sharper. It created a weird effect. However, so I stopped. I even stopped just trying, and then I started to realize that I guess at some point, sharpness sucked less. Still sucks, but not the same. So you might want to give that a try just to kind of see. Might help with your 2X and your current setup. Ah, come on. I want to see what's in this room. Don't die. Probably just a missile, but made it all the way here. Alright. So I managed to check out this entire thing on the map. So I got to figure out a way to get all the way back to there so I can go back down. So actually, I think. Oh, I hate doing this. Oh. Alright, so let me try save. And then save. And okay. That is so awesome. Alright, I want to try. Is the person who asked about IREM games still here? And do they know which game I should try on the Mister to test this TV, just out of curiosity? And this is just the D sub to component cables. Nothing special here. All right, so basically just down and to the right then. I am kind of torn on the whole save thing, because unless somebody went and manually hacked in save stations, um, it would be kind of hard to plan that whole have to get to another section to keep all of your weapons, because some of these sections, as you've seen, are huge. It does kind of feel like cheating that I was able to die, save all of my weapons, get back to an easier place on the map, and have full health. But without another fair option, I think this is the lesser of two evils. Because I certainly wouldn't play it without it. Alright, so... which one am I going to? The very bottom, if possible. Zoomer, somebody was nice enough to sell me their FrameMeister when the RetroTink 5X came out for a very, very low price. And I was able to kind of take another look at it with fresh eyes. And I definitely got to say, for when it came out, compared to what the options were then, absolutely amazing device. But compared to the RetroTink 5X, I don't really know. I don't really. I think there's a couple of scenarios if you're a streamer or something in which that might be a benefit, but I don't really think so. That said, if you own a FrameMeister, I certainly wouldn't throw it in the garbage to get the Tink. It's a totally different animal. Uh, am I using component or RGB for the Mister? No, all you got to do is take the D sub out and just convert the ends to component video. That's it. So you could just get any of the D sub to RCA breakout cables or anything. Okay, this is yeah. All right, so this is a whole other area that I am not going to have time for. So let me save. Let me reboot. Does anybody know if there's an IREM game on here that I could use to test? Let's try R-Type. R-Type World. Should I be going to Ridley's Lair now? Is that too soon for Ridley's Lair? I have a bunch of weapons. Okay. I don't know what that last setting is, but that certainly works. Arcade. What other weird things are on this that TVs have issues with? By the way, I do completely and totally realize that Turtles is a very early beta, but is this working for people? Because I ended up, I played it, it worked, and then it never worked again for me. So let me try it on this. James, what's my favorite slice in New York City? Whatever is the most convenient. That was the best part about living in New York City, was that basically wherever you are, if you can find a place very close to you that doesn't suck, you win. Yeah, it's working. Weird. Huh. Alright, let me just go. Uh-oh. Not rebooting here. Let me manually reset, and I just want to make sure my game's saved. Actually, let me check out Wizzo's thing and see if I could do it right from my phone. Bookmarks. Haha. I don't know if y'all can see that, but thank you, Wizzo. That is absolutely incredible. Didn't even have to get my fat ass up off the couch to hit reset. Or actually, let's also try the recently played. And my button's got all weird. What the heck? That's kind of funny. That is right. I'm gonna use the. I guess I'll use the app again. I guess I really do need to reboot my Mister. But all right, multi-system. Recently played Metroid MSU. And let's see if it's saved. And then I'm out of here. Hey, Felipe, thank you very much. Good to see you. Sweet. Okay. This was awesome. Thank you all. Cheers to everybody. This was very fun. Very awesome send off for this TV that I love. I'm gonna call it for now though, but thank you all for hanging out. These are never as fun without you. So hopefully I'll do one of these again. I'll follow up on Metroid, and you all kick ass. Thank you all so much.